Welcome to BrotoGP. Today is day 9,723 of March 16th. So we live in a perpetual Groundhog Day, and yet we may actually have some racing tomorrow. I'm not actually sure I believe it. I will believe it when I see it. But as of now, BrotoGP is back after a short hiatus. I'm Kevin, the crushingly handsome man you see to my left, or maybe the right, depending on which goat, is one Robert Pierce. He is the engineer and the brains behind everything that we do.
Steve Kurtz
Say
Jr.
hi, Rob.
Already left a comment.
Yes, Steve Kurtz Jr.
The second I hit live, he
was ready to go.
Yeah. Oh my god! And then people are jumping in already. Hey everyone, I'm Rob. Robert.
Hey, what's up, Rob?
How you doing? It's been a while.
I don't know if you heard, but apparently there was some sort of sickness going around.
Oh wait, what did we call it before?
It was the Steve.
It was
exactly.
Steve.
Yes.
The Steve was far worse than we would have guessed back in February.
First of all, fuck you. I said Coda's not going to happen. This shit is real. I clarified that I bribed my way through a military outpost in Eastern Congo to go into Congo when there was an Ebola outbreak for shits and giggles, and I was still mad worried about COVID. So it was not far worse than anyone said. It was exactly what I said, and in fact, I got killed for it. Of all the things we talk about when we talk about how terrible our fucking predictions are, who would unbeknownst to everyone, I was actually the most right about anything ever. Shit got so real so fast. But luckily for everyone in BrotoGP, I had been sprinkling little nuggets of fun, interesting, non-GP entertainment facts, conspiracy theories, jokes, and memes to carry us through the fucking, the doldrums that was the last 4 months. Birds aren't real. Pee is stored in the balls. Finland's not real. All of those things involved. Finland is not. It's not that it's not real. It's that Finland doesn't exist. It's not there. But I sprinkled these. I salt bayed them out to everyone so that we would have running jokes, things to joke about, things to do, and things to carry us through this. Keep us cohesive, organized group of bros to support each other, bros and broettes, dude bros, girl bros, all bros, every bros. And it's all due to me and Rob.
I mean, and Remy.
Oh, no, yeah, don't get me wrong. And Ramdog, for sure. I mean, the originator of peas is pee is stored in the balls.
And I believe all of the Petrucci comments as well, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, exactly. If you don't think pee stored in the balls, we have video evidence of Petrucci letting us know not only is pee stored in the balls, but that farts are stored in the butt cheeks.
I forgot about that. Yes, if you're in the army.
If everyone likes to give us hardcore shit about not getting predictions right, but I got the greatest prediction of 2020 right, and I fucking told everyone, get ready to.
I mean, that and Johnny Ray winning everything, so.
Right, exactly. Mr. Slide into my DMs and complain that we talk too much shit about him.
That did actually happen.
Happened.
That was Johnny Ray. That was a lot more productive than the time someone else in the paddock slid into my DMs.
Yes, correct. Exactly.
I feel like, did you end up replying?
I said, like, I wouldn't get too caught up at blah, 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 blah. Like, obviously, we're an infotainment podcast, but while I have you, did you know that pee is stored in the balls?
Oh, if we would have got the reaction video to him reading your comments,
correct.
That would have been
While
amazing.
I have you on the line, did you know that Ronald Reagan killed every pigeon and crow in the continental United States and replaced them with government drones?
What about seagulls? What do they work for the Navy?
No. It's just pigeons and crows. It's
Oh,
not all
okay.
birds. That's the common misconception. It's not all birds. It's just certain birds. Like emus are real.
I saw one chasing after a person on Reddit today. It was pretty funny. An emu.
Amazing. Right.
Yeah, no, it was great. All right. I feel like we've spent just enough time on the pandemic. Well, no. It changed our lives. Like I feel like in America now we are not as gifted as other parts in the world to be coming out of the pandemic. Obviously, MotoGP is in the position right now where they feel they can safely run a professional sporting event, albeit without fans. They've kind of made their own little bubble, as have many other sports that are actually trying to kind of move the whole traveling circus around the world. And I mean, we see people in masks. We see a complete lack of fans. Reporters are on Zoom in the press conference, which is kind of interesting. The press conference actually seemed a little more structured, and they got less canned responses and more information out of it, which was kind of nice.
Right.
So I'm not I'm not completely opposed to the press conferences happening on
You know
Zoom.
what I'm not completely opposed to? If you were to get in a motorcycle accident, going to Riders Law with a Z.com, your California personal accident injury lawyer. If you are,
I hung
that.
out
Did
with
you
Cy.
see that segue? God damn.
That was brilliant. I hung out with Cy and lawyer Rob the other day, and
All right.
of course, like everyone in the United States, I mean everyone in the planet, they were impacted by the pandemic, but they do feel like their business is, coming back. They're getting by. So yeah, if you need legal representation because something has happened to you, and you need help, your insurance is screwing you over, you got into a motorcycle accident, you need some help with your injuries and medical payments and stuff, and you think, especially if you think someone else was at fault, please give Riders Law a call. Their name is right behind me on the video. It's massive, but it is riderslaw.com.
Behind me on the video, it's massive. Title of Rob's sex tape. And that's episode 120. We'll be done. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
We're actually on episode 133 right now.
Oh yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't. I don't know. I didn't know if I was gonna do like the whole episode thing because we were kind of trying to make this a quick update on this last week or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know how long we're gonna go. It's early. It's good.
I mean, a lot of the thing with the yes, everyone was impacted. Everyone got involved, and we had a lot of messages like, "Where's the podcast? But where's the podcast?" I'm like, yo,
people begging. They were begging for us.
We have like live, and like I'm not trying to talk shit, but I wanted to explore before we get into GP. I just kind of want to talk about it in general. So like, obviously, like BrotoGP is a group of people. It's not like it's like an egalitarian like construct. It's not like any one person. We all have roles we play. We all do different stuff. Yes, I'm like the mouthpiece.
We feed off each other too, so correct. It's not like we're gonna do it individually.
But like, for example, like we talked about Remy, right? He does a lot of our memes. He's a moderator on our website, or excuse me, on our Facebook page. Like he has a kid and a wife and a fucking job. He owns a business that was impacted by, he was forced to close. And like, it's super crazy hard. Dennis has kids. Everett has kids. And like I posted on our stories, like, dude, if you have kids, it's nuts. Like, look at the world right now. You either send them to school, you homeschool them, or you Zoom school them. Those are all terrible choices. Those are all terrible. There's no right answer, right? Like, if you have kids, there is no right answer. It's only choosing which of these three really shitty choices is the least shitty that you can navigate the best.
Like parents like hate like when those random days when school is out but work isn't, because now they have some other extra thing like, oh no, we now have to get a babysitter or someone has to stay at home. Like, yeah, those, I mean, I do hope to take upon those responsibilities someday, but to do it in this day and age is insane.
And then, Rob, right, he has his own job and he's a freelance, he does computer programming, a lot of stuff, and that obviously things got tired. I work in an industry
for a golf company, which was massively impacted and severely affected how I could pay my bills.
Right. And then I obviously I've talked about it, I work in like construction, and it was crazy. I could work, then I couldn't, then I could work, then I couldn't, then I could only work in certain ways, and it's like we're all trying to navigate it. And one of the things I didn't want to do when the whole COVID thing started, guys, and it was like all of a sudden everyone was bored after 3 weeks, and everyone and their mom started a podcast, and it was all these like shitty dumbed down podcasts. And then what was GP doing? They were doing like virtual races and this total nonsense. Everyone was trying to they were trying to force the issue. They were trying to take square peg, round hole, square peg of what they wish the world was, and round hole what the world is now, and it's not going to fit. And Wittgenstein had a famous like quote at the opening of his Tractatus, which is, "The world is everything that is the case." A famous stripped down logicist point of view of an incredible 90-page dissertation, how he got his PhD. He wrote during World War I, and it starts with, "The world is everything that is the case." It sounds like a really like obvious statement, but basically the world is what it is. And humans, what separates humans from animals is our ability to view the world not as it is, but by how we wish it would be or how we want it to be. The problem is that causes anxiety, that causes all kinds of mental health issues when you're focusing on what you wish the world was as opposed to what it is. And the end of that Tractatus said, it paraphrasing here because I'm not quoting the initial German, which is like, everything that you can't say should be left unspoken. I can look it up. I just butchered it completely because I'm knee deep in some red wine. But the idea basically is that like, we don't have anything to talk about because I'm going to take this situation head on. Like the people who are going to, and trust me, this is a shitty situation for everyone. And some people are just fucking, if you can just survive, you're winning. But the people who can hit this running, navigate it, and try to view it as the ability to come out on top are literally the people who are going to come out on top. They're the people who are going to rise above the situation. And that's just what I tried to do. Like, BrotoGP is great, but there was no racing, nothing. Everything was manufactured, try to keep it the way it was because so much of the world is capitalized into content you must consume for money. And they were literally trying to make anything happen to continue to sell you content. Right. And it was like schools to send every kid to school. Right. Like they sit in a Zoom class. We all know that the two biggest problems with health right now outside of COVID are people are on their screens too much. It's terrible for your mental health, and people are sitting too much. It's terrible for your body. It's literally the equivalent of a disease. So what did we tell every single fucking kid to do? Sit and look at a screen all day.
Well, hold on, Kev. We're literally asking people to do that right now to watch us live on YouTube.
Hey, if you don't like it, fuck off. I don't give a shit. Like, I mean, you can listen to us on a podcast while you go on a run or whatever. But you see what I'm saying? Like,
hey, that's a good idea.
An hour of escapism is different from turning your whole life into it. And all I'm saying is that the whole world attempted to force everyone onto a screen. And I had some major reservations about that because I really feel it's a major problem. The other thing I want to talk about, and this goes into like, fuck, where are we going to even record today? Or are we going to record next week? I have no idea. Here's the thing. If you go on Netflix and you binge watch lots of comedy shows, people doing lots of escapism, there's an amazing, amazing comedy show called Nanette. It's a woman who suffers from pretty solid autism. She clearly has some kind of gender identity issues. Anyway, it's a really, really, really funny show, and it takes a very dark, hella serious turn. So I'm going to butcher the concept she had, but basically was that like if you look at most comedy this day and age, what do people do? They make fun of themselves, right? I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or if they're African American, they talk about how hard everything is, or if they're gay, they talk about how terrible it is, or if you're Louis C.K., you're a total piece of shit and you deserve to be hated. Excuse me. Right? But
self-deprecating
or
humor
if you're
is
like
big.
John Mulaney, he'll talk about how he's a skinny little white nerd, right? He's like a child, right? It's all self-deprecating humor. But what you inevitably do is you try to take ownership of making fun of yourself, but by capitalizing it and turning it into a product, you now survive on destroying yourself. You survive on the creation of negativity, and it becomes this gnarly feedback loop. And throughout that Nanette story, the whole thing was, I'm going to quit comedy because comedy is actually bad for me. And one of the things that I really had a hard time coming to grip with and me and Rob talked about this a lot, obviously not during the podcast we're recording, was that like if you picked up your phone on March 23rd or fucking April 2nd, all you saw was so much negativity. All you saw was stream after stream, timeline of everything's politicized. Wear a mask is politicized. Wear it, don't wear it. Every single thing is politicized. Everything is horrible. It's numbers, it's death, it's economy, it's the stock market. You could not escape the negativity. And what does BrotoGP do? Don't get me wrong, it's super fun, but what do? We fucking rip on everyone.
Everything.
We rip on everyone and everything, and in a very South Park-like way, we basically joke that like it's stupid to care about anything. Everything's dumb, right?
And not just all that negativity too, but there was also like us losing things that would actively make us happy, right? Like a lot of our hobbies were shut down. A lot of like our social interaction was severely limited, right? If you're not living with the person that you like to hang out with, like what are you doing?
Right. If you like going to the gym, what are you doing? If you like going on a run and you can't, like all the things. So what happened is BrotoGP in a weird way increases the negativity of things. And it's something I've had a hard time coming to grips with in a long time because we just fucking rip on everyone. Like Johnny Ray literally like messaged me and he's like, yo, what did I do for that skinny little fuck to like make fun of me? He's talking about me because he's listening to the podcast, not knowing that I look like a guy who ate Johnny Ray like in real life. Because all I did was lift heavy shit. I would literally just grab like 9 bricks, squeeze them and curl them because I couldn't go to work. And that's why
I'm only 9. I swear it was like it wasn't too deep and 3
I've had a pretty good squeeze going on. The point being is that like what does Johnny Ray have going on other than that, right? Like he's like, man, these guys fucking are ripping on me, right? And I'm like, but he's not racing, he's not doing stuff, he's not providing the fun entertainment aspect that equates to like we're just fucking around.
I know. I need to know what episode he listened to as well.
Right, which one did he listen to? And so there was a lot of like, maybe we're just gonna sit back, we're gonna navigate this ourselves. And like when the time comes to have fun with this again in the way that we have fun with it, we will. But the last thing I want to do is create forced content that was terrible because that was the whole internet. And then on top of it was just increase the negative. Because what am I going to do? Rip on Dorna for like making, trying to make the race happen? I mean, fuck, people are trying to make their jobs. People are trying to get paid.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing, right? There are so many people behind all of these decisions that need to be protected because there is extra danger and extra risk in the world today.
Right.
So yeah, I wasn't really comfortable with that as well. I had a hard time with the negativity and just kind of like finding positive things in the world. Like, I mean, generally I come on these things to laugh.
Generally I come on these things. Title Rob Sex Tape.
Yeah, that's true. To laugh at to laugh at everything that Kev says about me.
Right.
And that's
in my defense, the jokes about Rob are he is an unrelenting sex machine. He is so fucking virile, it's unbelievable. He will fucking pound, son. He is an unstoppable sex maniac.
Oh, thank you. That made my Thursday.
Yes.
More so than watching the MotoGP press conference. But we'll get to that. No, actually, I mean, let's just get to that. Shout out to Jen for saying that the Marc Marquez interview programming got better.
I mean, I was as comfortable talking shit as I am watching Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez make out, i.e. not very.
Talking shit during a pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
Because if the world was not during a pandemic, completely comfortable talking shit.
Then, like, what's going on with that? What the hell is happening? Like, what is the deal with that?
Oh man. Well, okay. This is our pre-race show. I can't remember the last time we even did a pre-race show. So let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about all the things that we probably won't have time to mention in the post-race show. So I guess there's a bunch of silly season stuff.
I have a thing I want to talk about.
Well, hold on. Let me rattle off the silly season stuff, and you tell me if I hit it. So we got Pol Espargaro going to Repsol Honda, which was a big surprise.
That's the first one I want to talk
All right, I'll list the rest of the Honda musical chairs, and then we'll come back to it. Because of that, right? Alex Marquez's option for his second year is not going to be used. Thank God. And then because of that, and he's going to LCR, and then because of that, Taka Nakagami is still going to be racing, and Cal Crutchlow is no longer going to be riding for LCR Honda. And this is all 2021. I'm still bothered by the fact that they haven't raced yet, and 2021 is already just happened.
Right. Done.
Very decided.
Done.
But either way, back to Pol Espargaro. Great moves. Great moves.
The Pol Espargaro situation for me shows just how dumb Zarco was to quit. Just how bad. Because Pol Espargaro put his head down, got to work, nose to the grindstone, busted ass. There's like if Zarco had done anything remotely similar to that, that would be his ride. Pol shows that hard work, determination. There's a famous line, I'm not sure who pronounced it, but it's that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Zarco was probably more talented than Pol, but
we've used that before describing other silly season situations as well.
Right. This is the most perfect example ever, though, because
it is better.
Pol literally just busted ass, and the right time came. And hold on, I got something popping up on my screen here. And the right time came, and they seized the deal. They never wanted Alex. Alex was a ploy to get Mark to sign that crazy 4-year deal, right? Or whatever it was. That was like, get him in the Honda fold, we'll all sign. And then this was their way out. Hey, pandemic, what do you want to do? We'll run him with some races if we can, but we can't invest this many years in him, right? It was always supposed to be just 1 year, and we'll see what happens. Pol showed that Zarco's path was awful. It was the worst decision you could possibly make. Now he's just stuck in fucking purgatory on Avintia Ducati, and he's never going anywhere with that thing. Meanwhile, Pol literally went satellite Yamaha, a factory, second tier factory team, and he got the Repsol ride. And now the one thing that Honda has that's I think of big importance is they've got 3 of 4 riders are Moto2 champions. That bike can be built towards Moto2 riders long term. The biggest problem they've had is no one's been able to ride that damn thing.
And we explicitly said before that the KTM is likely the bike that is most like the Repsol Honda. Like you need to ride the front end aggressively. It does interesting things with the tires, and we've said that Marquez could win on the I don't know if we said win, but could go well on the KTM. And now Pol gets to prove it to us, right? Because he was one of the few people that could actually ride the KTM well. If he can do that if the same things on the Repsol and even slot into it and get podiums right away, one, it'll prove us all right, and 2, it'll show us that that's what Honda's been doing. They've been going for that riding style, and now they have Moto2 champions. Damn, I forgot about that.
Right. If you think about 3 of their 4 riders are Moto2 champions, you look at how many Moto2 champions are on the grid, lower class champions. They have the majority of the, like there's Pecco at Ducati, but Ducati has 2. They have Pecco and Zarco, but on their satellite bikes, Yamaha has none. I think it's a major building block for them towards making that bike able to be ridden by up and coming riders. It actually, in a weird way, gets them out of being locked into Marquez long term. You slowly start getting all this data from these guys. It's way better for Alex to be in a satellite team with less pressure, and he can ride, and they can just be okay. Well, this guy is was an average Moto2 racer, and then he worked his way into the title. So now we know how good these guys can be. I mean, personally, I think it's actually a really, really good move, but I think it just really highlights how poor of a decision Zarco was to bounce, because Zarco got that ride. Right? Everyone's saying Zarco Repsol, Zarco Repsol, and he had ridden the LCR Honda and did pretty impressive, held his own and all that. And then who gets it? He doesn't get it. Why? Because he proved he's not going to work hard. He proved that if the bike's not good right away, he's not doing shit. He proved he's too soft for, for it.
For people in the chat are saying you're forgetting about Franco in the Moto2 championship.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, there's one more. I knew it. Yes, correct. There's Franco
What's one
Morbidelli.
more?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Well, okay,
Right.
so
Right.
before we move on to, we'll use this as a transition over to Yamaha. Who's got the better long game right now, Honda or Yamaha with this setup? Like, if you'd asked me before the pandemic, I would have said that Yamaha has a far better long game with Fabio, right? A much bigger upside, more results now, and Repsol has a bike that no one else can ride but Marquez. But it sounds like they're making steps in order to fix that, or in order to start to develop a bike, which is, I mean, like Cal was doing amazing development for Repsol, according to Mark Marquez. And obviously they have Brattle as their test rider, but even with Cal doing all that development, he was getting a bike every single year that seemed like he was able to ride it worse. And so you have to
And
kind of
getting
start to question.
injured.
Yeah, so you have to start to question all those results. Whereas now, like, and then you see the Yamaha finally has a satellite bike doing well again. So if they ditch Cal and they go to some other second rider to do the testing and to do the development, are they actually going to have a better long game? It's a longer game for Repsol than it is for Yamaha.
Yeah, I mean Yamaha. It depends. Yamaha, obviously, Maverick is good. Fabio is good. I think Morbidelli has more talent than he's shown so far, but it's definitely like he has that. Plus, Morbidelli has his own like mentor in his team with him, as so it's part of the VR46 Academy. Valentino is basically his mentor, and it's like 99% that Valentino is going to ride for the Petronas team. Obviously, Petronas has an insane amount of money, probably more than Repsol, to spend if they wanted to.
I mean, they're also plastered on a Formula One prototype car. So.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of money. And a racetrack.
Right. And the track, right? And investment in an area that's exploding. I don't think anyone can underestimate what Valentino and Petronas at Sepang is going to be like. People are going to be going fucking ape shit.
They're not going to be lacking T-shirts like Joe Roberts in the United States.
Right. I saw this the other day. They're like, someone's like, I need Joe Roberts T-shirts, and they're like, oh, we're figuring it out soon. I'm like, yo, me and Rob are just two dudes, and we can figure it out. Like we don't run an international race team and shit. Like it's really not that hard to make shirts. It's so easy, and if you already have like a built-in reason for people to buy the shirts, you can have the worst designs ever. Like Mark Marquez has a guy who's actively attempting to make the worst design of all time on the jackets and clothes, and they sell because he has built it. People will buy if you literally just put Joe like JR and his number in red, white, and blue, the people will fucking buy them. You don't need to come up with a dope shirt like we did with Rob over there with the Entertainment Podcast Nintendo throwback way ahead of the old school video game scene, or the Dovey one, or all the crazy ones, or build a relationship with a fucking Iron Print Pony Works and have like these outside the box designs and work on all that. They could do anything and they're not making them. It's so crazy to me. It's not hard to make shirts. It's so easy.
All right, enough of that tangent. Sorry, I didn't mean to go that far. What were you saying before that?
I mean, just that Yamaha's got the good long game. I think it depends. I mean, they don't have all their eggs in one basket. Honda still has all their eggs in one basket. It just kind of looks like they're trying not to, whereas Yamaha is legitimately not. Like they're ahead of that. The question is does non-focused development cause a problem? And is there going to be there's not going to be friction between Paul and Marquez at Repsol. They know the hierarchy there. They know who's the A side and who's the B side. At
Factory
Movistar
Yamaha.
or excuse me, Monster Yamaha, Factory Yamaha, it's not so clear. Fabio is the up and comer. He's fast as fuck. Like, I'm not so sure that when he jumps on that bike, if he has anything resembling last year, this year, there's going to be some friction.
And that is a very factory Yamaha problem too. It always seems like factory Yamaha in the last 10 years has gone, we're going to have 2 number 1 riders and you're going to like it. And then shit hits the fan.
Right. Right. Except the thing about their two number one riders is it was, they got lucky and had two of the best that ever did it. Their two number one riders were, Valentino and Lorenzo. So their two number one riders are two of the best ever. So they pushed each other to crazy heights. I'm not so sure it's the same with Maverick and Fabio. It'll be really interesting to see, what happens here.
Yeah, if neither of them are able to beat Marquez kind of straight up, then yeah, it'll be a very different situation. What else? I was supposed to use that to transitioning to Yamaha. I guess the only thing, well, there are two things with Yamaha. So MotoGP did test yesterday. It's Thursday right now.
Fucking Maverick.
And
King
Maverick
testing
once again won in practice. And the only other talking point is that Fabio is kind of penalized for testing a bike or for riding a bike.
20 minutes of FP1.
Yeah, he's missing 20 minutes of FP1. And they asked him about it in the press conference. He actually looked kind of perturbed. And he said he wasn't going to comment on it. And I'm like, wait, why? Just it's 20 minutes. Why do you care? Get over it. They just tested. Well, so they ran.
Casey
they got
Stoner
4 hours.
One lap and then come in. Right.
Yeah, right. He wouldn't care about the 20 minutes. He'd wait for everyone else to rubber in the track a little bit, and then he'd go turn 3 laps, and that would be the fastest lap. Yeah, I don't know. Yamaha is. It sounds like it's going to be the same old story.
Who narc? Who fucking narc? You know what I mean? That was fucking Marquez. The same dude who brought his factory technicians to Valentino's house to go dirt bike riding. It was one of the fucking Honda riders that narked. Who in the hell narked on those guys? And it was like, Fabio was riding an R1 that had traction control. And they're like, oh, fucking this fucking guy. You can't ride for 20 minutes. They put Fabio on timeout like it's fucking 8th grade. Or whatever. What is the deal? They stuck him in the corner for 20 minutes, do something. It's FP1. It's irrelevant. It's going to be so hot during the race that those morning practice sessions are irrelevant to the race. It doesn't matter. The only thing that it kind of fucks him up is if morning is way cooler and it messes up his ability to get into Q2.
Yeah, but he can do that. He can do that the following morning. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm saying it's the only thing. If it happens to be pretty ideal conditions, otherwise, who cares?
Yeah, the whole situation is just. Whatever. Something happened. It's great.
All I can think of is just like The Simpsons. Who's a narc? The fat Jamaican dude. You know what I mean? From where he goes to Lollapalooza. What? Remember that? Who's a narc? The fat Jamaican guy, and it was Homer because he was wearing the fucking Rasta hat. You know what I mean? When they went to Lollapalooza. I'm making an obscure Simpsons reference while Rob is reading the chat. Remember Lollapalooza when he joins the Smashing Pumpkins and he's getting shot in the gut with a cannon?
Oh, the cannon.
And he goes with Bart to Lollapalooza and he thinks he's going to be mad cool and he puts on his fucking Rastafarian hat.
Someone said in the chat, smells like Otto's jacket.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. One of the great episodes. Exactly. One of the great episodes was that one. You know what I mean? It smells like Otto's.
I remember the overarching theme of Homer getting hit in the stomach and not being able to do it because he'll die, but he really wanted to.
Right, because when you go to is it really true that you can't drink the water? They got a saying back home. If it's brown, drink it down. If it's black, send it back.
Oh, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. What else are we going to talk about with MotoGP? We got nothing. Okay. So here's not my prediction, but this is kind of a prediction with MotoGP, right? We've got Jerez, which is a weird round 2, even though I'm pretty sure I saw round 1 on some of the videos for Dorna, which just it's boggling.
Just round 1 for GP.
Yeah, but well, we might go back to people are asking already for talking about poor Cal leaving. I don't know. We might go back to that. I can't kick him that much when he's after he does something silly in the race, then we'll talk about him more.
No,
Okay.
I mean, look, I can talk about Cal without talking mad shit. Here's the thing, Cal's, you said it. Every year his performance has gone down, and he's pretty hurt. He fucking destroyed part of his leg. He's talked about having injury issues. Like at some point, like you did your job, you won some races, but your performances have been dropping and you're really injured. It sounds bad to say, but they got out of him what they wanted. Like, you got to remember, Honda gives no fucks about its riders. They give no fucks about their riders at all.
Zero
And
fucks.
you developed it. Yeah. You developed the bike, you crashed a shitload in the process, you got injured, and they told you to beat it. When you go to Honda, that's just how it is, and you have to know that. Like, Pole knows going into Honda that he's just going to get that good Repsol, but like he's not like part of the culture. There's no fucking monuments to Cal. It's not like when you go to Bologna and you see the just Ducati museum or Ducati factories just painted with Troy Bayliss on the side. Honda basically refuses to ever even admit that Valentino Rossi rode for them. They basically didn't even want.
They refused to admit that they didn't have a robot just riding the motorcycle around the track that wasn't also built by Honda.
Right.
That there's a rider at all.
Right. Yeah,
just,
exactly. So, I mean, it sucks for Cal, but at the end of the day, that's sort of what happens. He's been on the downslope. He got that factory Ducati ride. He didn't do very well. He kind of said he wasn't going to push too hard. Gigi came along. He wasn't really the guy he wanted. They pushed him off, and he peaked a couple years ago. Don't doubt me, 2 races, but it's been a slow, steady decline since then, and injuries are piling up. And if the bike is notorious to ride and the bike needs development still, maybe he's not the guy anymore.
If say he does continue to ride and rides for Factory Aprilia, is that better or worse than retiring for next year?
Depends how much money he's got in the bank. I mean, for real, it's the job still. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you have to work. He's got a wife and kids. It's it's a job if he wants to. Because it's the real question is riding Factory Aprilia better than going to World Superbike or back to British Superbike or something, or World Supersport? But
someone brought up Moto America in the chat and Honda in Moto America.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Wyman could throw him a few bones and make him the B rider on the KWR team.
Ooh, we're going to talk about Kyle before this episode is over.
Correct.
Yeah. Saving the best for last on that one.
Boosh.
No, I just, like, I'm fine with him spending 2 years at, like, a Factory Aprilia because I still think he has plenty to offer. Kyle just left a bone comment in the chat. But if he doesn't, if he chooses to retire, then BrotoGP will be losing a segment in Cal bashing time, and we won't be able to hear his like weird, ridiculous comments in interviews anymore, and it'll be a loss for the sport because he's definitely been very entertaining, and like having that sort of personality coupled with a motorcycle racer that can challenge the best in the world and be a part of that whole paddock it's going to suck to see him go. And I mean, we're losing Cal bashing time too.
What'll be really interesting is Jack Miller will be the only native English speaker in the series.
Does Brad Binder count?
Oh no, Binder. Yeah, I mean, it's been so long, I forgot. I mean, I don't know if he speaks African or not. I really don't know. But yes, it definitely becomes an issue of shrinking down the base. I mean, the series better off with Cal retiring or not, I don't know, but he's not going to do anything on Aprilia. We know that. I think Aprilia the Aprilia team is so weird. Like, they hire people they don't want. At some point, they need to do what KTM is doing and bring riders up. Stop bringing in riders on the way out for whatever reason. Like, stop bringing them in. You have to start developing your own talent. Like, a guy in the chat asked, what do we think about Miguel? And he's Portuguese. And Miguel, I think Miguel is great. He's a fucking unreal talent. He's super good in Moto3. And once he got the right bike in Moto2, and he's been cultivated by that team, built by that team, supported by them. And I think that's exactly what someone like Aprilia needs to do. And I think you see the same problem at Ducati, which is they don't have a farm system in the way the other teams do. And we've talked about this before of like the franchising of the paddock is, and KTM has been able to do that incredibly well. And they've locked in some crazy talent, including Miguel, including Brad Binder. And like Aprilia doesn't have that at all, despite the fact they have Grassini. But you saw the disaster that was Sam Lowe's and all of that. And I really think that the Moto2 team of Grassini and the MotoGP team, it's not viewed as like a ladder system in the way that we probably thought it should have been or was going to be.
Wait, isn't there there's a team in Moto2 and MotoGP that is now like someone's going to jail. It wasn't Grassini, was it? Oh God,
I don't know if
I can't believe.
Yeah.
Is it else? It's not Lucio Cecchinello that's going to jail.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I legitimately don't know.
Whatever. I'm pulling shit on my ass. I read this like a month ago. It's been too long. Time passes and I can't even tell these days. What someone was asking about Iannone. Is he completely done? No, is he completely done in MotoGP? Oh, yes. It's Pons. It's Pons that yes.
Pons, yes.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Lucio Cecchinello and for implicating that in any way, shape, or form. one of the best guys in the paddock for bringing sponsorship into a private team, and I said the word like financial.
Yeah, and you're like, isn't he a fucking criminal?
Terrible.
Right.
Oh man, no, I mean, okay, so Iannone straight up banned. They gave him a reduced ban, but now they
appealed the ban.
They appealed the ban, going for the full ban because that's how the International Doping Association kind of works. Like they make their own rules for the bans.
They don't make their own rules. I mean, they do. They have suggestions, but the USADA is really connected to the way the Olympics work. So when you got a 4-year ban, that's obvious that like the idea is if you're doing something illegal or against regulation for the Olympics, you're sort of banned from the following one, right? So you're banned from like the World Championships of whatever your sport, which tend to be off years from the Olympics, and then the Olympics. But this is obviously not that kind of sport. A 4-year ban is totally insane, and they're pushing for it is crazy. Like I don't think testing regulatory organizations should be independent of testing organizations. The people who test and confirm positive or negative results should not be also who is recommending or enforcing punishments. You have a massive conflict of interest there. It should not be that. Testing agencies should be independent. It should be simply, we provide these facts. Here are 2 samples, an A and a B sample. A sample tested positive. We tested the B sample. And then in this case, in Iannone's case, they provided secondary samples to show that he didn't have it. And then they said, yes, this could be the case. Put it towards an arbiter, and they said they believe he didn't knowingly take it, and it was probably from tainted stuff. Then the same
but you still banned.
Yeah, banned, but right, yeah, exactly. But the idea that the people who do the testing are involved in deciding what the punishment should be is really frustrating for me because it's a massive conflict of interest. It's like literally saying the police are also the
I've followed cycling's like doping woes over the past 2 decades. I mean, well, essentially it's the entire time that I've followed cycling. And there are definitely things that pop up that are just laughable. I mean, thankfully, in Iannone's case, he does have the FIM. The FIM is the one that handed him the reduced ban. Right. So there is things going for him in that regard. As far as his career, like I don't see how he could ever come back to MotoGP because of that. Like MotoGP moves too fast. You miss one silly season, and I mean, like he could end up in World Superbike, like he could end up as a fill-in rider or a test rider. But at the same time, I mean, like, why would you want him to be a test rider? Like he's not Piro, he's not reliable, puts in a shit ton of hard work. He's the playboy, the fitness, the Instagram model, the one that got caught for doping. right? So it's more likely that I think he's effectively done racing motorcycles for his entire
because
career.
look, we've talked about, like you just said 20 minutes ago, like I can't believe 2021 is sealed up. They haven't even raced in 2020. Mark Marquez is a 4-year contract. They're signing guys from Moto3, right? Like they're it's if you're not standing still, you're getting blown past. Like excuse me, if you are standing still, you're getting blown past. Like it's moving too fast. Everything contract, the way they're lining contracts up now, and how everyone's trying to lock people in, like uh, Suzuki locked in their their Moto3 guy because they literally said we don't want to have a Maverick Vinales situation happen. Right, we were going
Yeah.
to lock him out, so they had him on a potential 3-year deal. You have these guys coming from Moto3 and getting 2-year +1 deals, and you have Mark Marquez getting 4-year deals. You have Alex Marquez, who's never turned a wheel in MotoGP, is guaranteed for 3 years. Right, where is he going to go?
Still, yeah. I don't know. Poor Yonone. Someone in the chat said more topless cooking with Yonone. And
Yes.
I think that's once he actually fully retires, that's definitely a BrotoGP episode. I mean,
Right,
maybe before he retires.
One of the reasons we haven't recorded any new episodes is we've been setting up our Twitch stream for Rob's topless cooking.
Kev, we should do it together so people can finally see the relative size difference.
Title of Rob's sex tape.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Bada boom.
Someone's asking about Buster. You didn't miss Buster, but I can.
There she is.
There's the Pearl. Pearl, look at the camera.
So one of the things that I did was I stopped drinking caffeine after 11 o'clock. So I used to be famously drank a lot of coffee, stopped drinking caffeine after 11 o'clock because I realized very early on in the COVID lockdown situation that it was going to be really easy to fuck up your sleep schedule, really easy to fall into that downward spiral. So I really regimented my days. I woke up at a normal work time. I went on a run. I worked out. I ate. One of the things I didn't want to do was get caught up in doom scrolling and all that stuff. So I stopped drinking any caffeine or coffee after 11 a.m.
Is that a term now? Doom scrolling?
Yeah, that's like you just jump on Twitter and you just scroll through just the nightmare that the world is right now.
That's why I like Reddit, because you can just pick to ignore the nightmares. It's great.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But so one of the things anyways, what I'm getting to with Buster is the fact I've been getting even higher quality sleep due to the lack of caffeine means that I'm waking up much earlier. Well, Buster realized that Kevin waking up at 5:45 in the morning means it's okay to scream for food at the top of his lungs at 5:30, 5:45. Now, go back to work, and obviously I'm a little more tired because I'm working throughout the day while still trying to maintain my fitness level. So I start sleeping in a little bit again, and it's just nonstop screaming. And then on top of the Buster screaming, we have a group of sheep that live next door to us, but one of the sheep keeps getting out and then mad that he's not with his sheep, even though he bounced to go eat from the apple tree, and he stands like 30 feet from our window and screams all night.
I'm sorry for laughing at your misfortune. It's fucking hilarious.
Right, yeah. So between Buster and the sheep, it's been a good time.
Oh man. All right, Kev. Let's get to our favorite topic of this episode and the final topic. The final topic here. Well, I mean, almost. Let's talk about Kyle Wyman.
Oh my God, the fucking man. Let's talk about the fact that our fucking bro got a Wyman tattoo.
David.
If you think it's a coincidence that his number is 33 and he got 2/3 on that thing, it's obviously not a coincidence. If you think that's a coincidence, you probably believe that Finland is actually there.
I thought you were gonna say birds. I thought you were gonna go that way. No, yeah. So mad respect to Kyle. It sounds like Kev is giving a little more respect to David for getting get that.
Yeah. Yes.
No, if you haven't noticed, everyone, I think Moto America was actually the first professional racing series to come back from the pandemic. They had measures in place to keep everyone safe. And racing.
Home of the Braves, son.
Yeah, they went to Road America in Wisconsin, which thankfully Wisconsin hasn't. If you stay outside of Milwaukee, hasn't really been hit that hard by the pandemic.
It's pronounced Amelia Wake.
Milwaukee. Mm, mm.
Someone has to get that reference.
Swing.
Okay.
Swing.
Yeah.
Swing. As if. And then Road America is an amazing racetrack. Humongous straightaways, really like horsepower drags, some fast flowing corners. And the first round, Kyle, what did Kyle do the first round? A fifth and a fourth?
Yeah,
Battling for
narrowly missed out in a battle with Josh Herron in the first round.
In the first round he almost dragged into the line up the hill. The straightaway to the finish line is a hill that seems like it's like 15 degrees, like straight up. The first time I went through there, like I was still hanging off from the corner, and I tried to like move my butt back to the center of the seat, and I couldn't do it. It was like,
right.
No.
First time when I saw Kyle Wyman get those 2/3, I was 15 degrees straight up. That's for sure.
But amazing result for Kyle in the first round, and then he followed it up with even better in the second round at Road America with 2 third-place finishes.
It's actually interesting when this whole thing happened, I was like, this goes back to if you're one of the people who can simply we had a whole podcast about Kyle called Undeterred, and then he was like, I'm going to make a whole web series about myself. I can't think of a name. Let me ask the guys in the BrotoGP army whose name I stole for the KWR army. Let's call it Undeterred. No, but the point being is like,
that's not exactly how it happened.
Not exactly how it happened, but what's interesting is that Kyle, like, this stretching the season out a little bit, especially the dude had neck surgery. We've talked about it because we had similar issues like with our necks. I hurt my neck too, not nearly as severe as Kyle, so I'm not trying to draw too many parallels other than we were talking about like, man, this sucks. Like, you get neck and sleeping so hard, you can't sleep on your side, your fucking arm, and you get atrophy in certain parts of your chest and your shoulder, and your rotator cuff gets worrisome and all that. And I was like, man, fuck. Pushing the season back 3 months might not be the worst thing in the world for the guy who's developing his own bike and had just got neck surgery. And lo and behold, like Kyle, be like Kyle, like see how the world is and fucking tackle it head on, and don't let it hold you back. Don't let it hold you down. And I think those 2/3 were so much more than like getting his second, third ever podium ever, his first ever double podium. Was like, fuck yeah, I saw this through. So many people would fucking bail when they, like you saw the one podcast or the interview we did at Sonoma where he broke his fucking scaphoid, right? And it's like 90 minutes afterwards, he's talking to us and just like, face the world, like own it straight up. This is the situation I'm in now. Like, the world is everything that is the case. I'm not going to sit here and worry about how it could have been or how I wish it was. And dude tackled COVID head on. It's not like he just sat around doing nothing. He was doing mad rehab. He was on Whoop. We talked about it a ton because we're both super into it. We're both like, really into recovery and shit right now. And fucking 2 third places. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely took the bull by the horns on that one. And
right. That's me taking the bull by the horns.
I'm excited to see.
I actually did that. That was real.
Wait, I thought you said there was sheep.
That's a dodgeball reference.
Oh, damn it! Oh, yeah, and he's got the
yeah.
That's true. It's in the picture. It's in the picture. It's right there.
Right.
The painting. Sorry. I'm excited to see where it goes. So Moto America, if you hadn't heard, Coda is off the table. Dorna announced that they weren't coming to the round, and don't blame them in any way, shape, or form. Moto America can't support running at Coda by themselves. I made that up. I'm just going with that. And so Coda is not happening. But so Moto America has covered their schedule. I'm pretty sure they got 10 rounds. We still have 8 left. The season is supposed to finish at Laguna Seca in October. 2 rounds in October. So, there's still a lot to do for Moto America Superbike. And like, there are definitely some storylines there that we'll probably cover a bit later, but I'm definitely excited to see how Kyle can take these 2/3 and maybe move a little bit further. Because he beat the people on the 2 Yamaha riders. Like, one is Jake Gagne is kind of new to the Yamaha, but Cameron Bobier chuffed it in the second round at Road
Right.
America with a confident lead, and Kyle's just pulling up time on those faster riders, still doing development on the bike, and he's practically doing it by himself.
He drives his own big rig.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like he's driving his own
He was
rig.
wrapping the rig today. Like I'm pretty
Right.
sure he wrapped the back door by himself. Or
Like he literally put the soapy water on, got the squeegee, and like wrapped it himself. You know, like you push all the air bubbles out. No, I mean Moto America is pretty cool. I think, and I said this. I wasn't even sure that I thought GP would ever come back this season. I really think that it needed to be national series to take the charge because it's much easier to navigate. But it turns out MotoGP is just going to be the Spanish national championship. But like.
Yeah.
Moto America, Cam, obviously, we saw Josh Herron get a podium on the BMW, which was cool. We saw Kyle get his podium as Bobby Fong takes his first win. Like, there's cool stuff going on in Moto America right now, and it's pretty inexpensive if you want to stream it. I saw that the Moto America had, I think, for their first round had amazing numbers. Like only a few sports were going off about like UFC. UFC was trying to make things happen.
I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Right, exactly. But I mean, like Moto America was really out in front of making it happen, and insert joke about there's not any fans anyway. But like they had massive viewership compared to last year, so same thing, making it work, going where it's safe. Going to Coda Moto America, I probably would have avoided anyway. If I'm anyone right now, I'm avoiding the southern part of the United States hardcore for a long time. You wouldn't catch me dead in Texas, Arizona, Florida, Louisiana, anywhere during the summer right now. You want August in southern United States, you got a major problem with what's going on in the world.
I mean, don't even fly to LA. Like,
right.
And San Diego also questionable right now. So I'm insulated here in my little office because I don't have to leave very often. But yeah, no, I mean Luca works at a hospital. So so does her sister in the ER a few hours north of here. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and my girlfriend works 7 days a week for the California State Health Department right now. So it's wild. But
back to the positivity of Moto America.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, actually, so the one thing too that is still currently missing from Moto America is the flair of Tony Elias, because I mean he did not have a very good round one, right? He's way down there he's in 11th in the standings right now. And so I feel like we always talk about having, something to root for and then also having the other something to root against. And Kev already listed like 5 and we still have more waiting, right? Like Matthew Skoltz got a podium in the first round, but kind of had a shitty second round, right? Tony Elias has had 2 kind of bad rounds for him, and him and the team are not gelling, or it just seems like the bike isn't operating the way that he needs to just yet. Once all that comes together towards the middle of the season for Moto America, that's going to be fire. It's going to be amazing racing.
I think it's definitely set up for a really good season. Moto America's somewhat able to insulate themselves a little bit. They run a shorter season. They run they don't have like the same level of just insane fan base showing up to causing major headaches with that. But also their tracks and series aren't predicated on that, right? Like you can't have a Mugello round when no one shows up. If the whole round is somewhat predicated on 90,000 people showing up, that's how the round is created and sold. That's part of its like fiscal analysis of how they're going to do this round. You can't have these rounds with no people, but Moto America is obviously already they're trying to build a fan base to begin with, so they're somewhat used to the low. Their whole series isn't based on shit. We have to get 50,000 people in the stands, or we're in the fucking red.
Yeah, I think I saw the numbers. They were not. Laguna was the only one that was over 50,000 for last year, but that's because World Superbike was there. That's obviously that's already not happening this season, even before the pandemic. But yeah, I mean, Moto America will turn out to, I think it's going to turn out to be pretty good. So we're going to keep watching that. Oh, the app for Moto America, or their live streaming service, has already improved compared to last season. Fewer bugs on the website, fewer bugs on the app, and it's just easier to watch. So if you are kind of on the fence about signing up for that, I think it's a good idea now. Jump on it. it's still not, MotoGP quality, but I mean neither is World Superbike. It's probably comparable to the World Superbike feed at this point. So go for
Right.
it. Yeah,
What
1080p finally.
anything else you guys want us? I mean, we're getting back into it, but if you're on the live stream right now, you can post a couple random questions and I'll hit them up before we go. You know me, I'm the king of random ass rants. So if it's something you want to hit up, I will annihilate any random question on any subject you have. In the meantime,
I love how I was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do a quick recap. This will be 30 minutes, and here it is. We're 30 seconds from an hour.
Yes.
Yep. Dennis called it. Actually, he told me I was dreaming.
Yes,
Oh man. All right.
So,
well, they're like 8 seconds behind. This is taking too long.
No, we're not taking too long. I mean, there's Finland's are where birds are made. No, very close, but not quite. Finland is where fish are shipped via the Trans-Siberian Railway to Japan under the guise of being Nokia phones. But that's for a different story.
Ghost of Tsushima? I feel like that's a reference for you.
Fuck, I have no idea. That must be an anime that's outside of mine. I haven't watched anime in a long time, if that's what that is.
I was thinking either that or the title of a novel. I don't know. Which bike does the calendar suit more? The Moto America calendar suits the Yamaha because they win everything.
Yes, correct.
I'll pull up the calendars here. I already had them open. Spain, Czech Republic.
What have I been watching during quarantine? I will tell you right now. Maybe the greatest, I would say among the greatest drama television shows that's ever been made, and certainly one of the single best television shows during what we would call the golden age of TV or peak TV. Dark on Netflix. If you haven't seen Dark, and
I've been tempted.
Dark is so fucking balls out nutty. It's insane. The quality of this series is unreal. The intricacies, the depth, like the music, the cinematography. Dark is going to go down as one of the greatest television shows of all time. And one of the best things about Dark is it's 3 seasons, and they knew that it would be 3 seasons and not a second more and not a second less. So if you were let down by Game of Thrones' end and all of that stuff, trust me, Dark ends the way it should. You will be fulfilled. It's
already done. They did all 3 seasons already? Okay.
Netflix been going on for like 3 years. The last season just came out. Watched all 3 in a row. It has no business being as good as it is. It's so insane. I don't even want to ruin it for anyone, but all I can tell you is at first you're going to think, wow, this is kind of like Stranger Things. A kid goes missing in the 80s. And then from there, it gets into the most, like, to even say what happens is a spoil, but how do I sell this without spoiling it? There's time travel, but it's time travel done in perhaps the greatest way time travel has ever been done in cinema.
I mean, better than Back to the Future time travel,
which is the worst time travel there is.
That's the only one that's been timeless so far.
No,
thankfully they're not going to remake it.
Dark has paradoxes they are aware is a paradox, and the characters are actively attempting to unwind the paradox that they know that they are in. So it addresses the paradoxical issues with time travel.
Someone brought up Looper, which I mean, to be fair, that the movie was so close to being amazing.
Yes, no, Dark. The only thing about Dark is it's German, so you have to watch it in subtitles. But like, if you can't read, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm on Perry Mason right now on HBO, and I think the writing so far has been amazing. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes. But it's also like, of course, it's a reboot, right? But thankfully, it's such an old one that there wasn't anything that I could have seen from it before. Actually, someone brought up World Superbike, and there are 2 things that I totally forgot about. Marco Melandri is back. What did you say earlier?
Dreams of riding a 33 World Superbike Ducati got Melandried.
Oh, poor Leon Camier. Leon Camier has been struggling with injury again, and him and the team parted just so he could focus on his shoulder recovery because testing recently did not go as well for him as he'd like. And they've replaced him with Marco Melandri, which
Right.
just seems cool. Cool. Oh, I'm not old. Yes, reboot of Perry Mason. It's on HBO. Go watch it.
Right. The Marco Melandri thing is so weird. Like, he was not good, and then he retired, and they're like, "Oh, fuck it, let's bring him back." Like, it's just like, I don't know, was he bored or like you retire and come back literally the next year? He's like Lorenzo. I'm coming back.
And Fernando Alonso and
Right.
so many other. Yeah, there are a couple of people that always do that. Lots of talent, may do interesting things, may also just shit the bed. No idea what's
Right.
going to happen with Marco Melandri.
Right.
Aprilia returning to World Superbike. I haven't read enough about that yet or seen them on track to know what's going on. So,
Right. They saw
sorry.
those bear cheeks and it was a done deal. Yeah, that was weird. He just like was he thirst trapped his own image, like with his own butt hanging out, like literally in a thong, just like, hey, check out my butt cheeks. It was wild.
Oh man. Multiple tracks giving an unfair advantage to a manufacturer in GP. Everything in GP gives an advantage to the fastest factory. That's kind of just how it works, right? So like we're gonna like air for this round, right? No testing time. That means that Repsol Honda is gonna get that Repsol Honda will win because they have the best technicians and the best riders, so they're going to find the setup the fastest, and they're going to do amazing things, right? Going back to a second track, the Repsol Honda will have their amazing setup from the first time, and they'll be able to pull away just a little bit more. Everyone will catch up, but pretty much everything in motorsports is the person that starts out with all the advantages generally wins unless something crazy happens.
It's I mean, it's
Yeah.
literally the sport where whoever has the most money generally wins. Like, there's aberrations to it, but it's a giant branding exercise masquerading as a sport. Like, Top Gun is a gay romance described as, or, masquerading as a military recruitment deal, masquerading as an action movie, right? Like, MotoGP is.
I almost went to the bar from Top Gun like the other day, or there's a
Oh,
barbecue place right next to it. Yeah,
right.
didn't go.
Yeah, you went to go get carnal knowledge of a lady this time.
Yeah, because I would be the fourth person that day to walk in and say some line like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's got to get super old. Speaking, like, I'm just saying, like, like, we can end this, but with masks being an issue and like BLM happening and massive protests and COVID, everyone on edge, that the rise of the Karen has taken place, and I watched, holding my breath, knowing that dude Karens were going to come out, and there's only two names it was going to be. It was going to be Kevin or Kyle. And because I've always thought, what if you're a chick named Karen? How awful is that? How awful is that? And I'm thinking, fuck, me or Wyman are fucked.
I thought
right?
I thought it was Ken. Is
That's
it
what
not
I
Ken?
was getting to. And then lo and behold, it's Ken. And thank Lord baby Jesus, standing in front of his fucking playing covers of Leonard Skinner with giant angel wings, and me and Kyle are hammered drunk in the front of the front row, just knowing that it's not the Karen of the dude Karen is not Kevin or Kyle. Oh, thank God. Because I was like, I'm literally gonna ruin my life. I gotta go by my middle fucking name now because of that. And it's, you know what I mean?
Kyle's are the monster drinking drywall punching skater bros.
Yes, correct. And Kevin is like, anytime there's a female comic complaining about some little kid, it's always Kevin.
Little, it has to be some adolescent, like not an adult
dipshit who's like not under control from his parents, and he's like running wild. It's always Kevin. It's always like some upper middle class kid who's being a dipshit. It's Kevin, but I'm okay with that. But I don't want to be fucking. If some dude pulls a gun because someone of slightly different skin tone is near their car, or refuses to wear a mask, or thinks every single change in the world is a secret communist plot to steal your freedoms,
or socialist.
I didn't want to be like Kevin. I'm like, oh fuck! I was like holding it, and it was dubbed Ken. Thank the Lord.
No, they know the chat also knows why. Kevin is already home alone, so it couldn't have been Kevin.
Right.
So
That's
you
what
were
I'm saying.
safe. You were
So
safe.
he gets the it transferred to Kevin McAllister, like the kid who met Donald Trump in the second one, which was super weird.
You owe something to wait, what's the actor's damn name?
Kevin, you're talking about Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. You owe Macaulay Culkin for that to not be the
right.
male Karen.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God.
Thank God. I was gonna say something right before that, and I lost my train of thought completely. Camille is not unhireable. He's still quite young. But yeah. Yes, Christian, I had done a reasonable amount of cycling in the pandemic. My bicycle race was canceled. I've actually done far more fishing because that wasn't really closed down, but for like 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting photobombed. Should I? There's a cat being crazy back here.
Oh, nice.
And there's a chair in the way. All right, everyone. I think we're gonna call it the BrotoGP onesies. Everyone wants baby or children BrotoGP clothing.
We did this episode to see if Rob remembered how to actually record. That was actually this episode.
And I tested it earlier today, and the answer was no. I did not remember how to record.
Remember how to record.
But tech support helped quite a bit.
Yes.
But yeah, so I honestly think that FP1 for Moto3 starts in like 3 or 4 hours. So get on that. Go watch some motorcycle racing. Yes, 3 hours, 27 minutes at this point. If you're watching after the fact, I hope we have
Rob. I told you he's an animal.
Yes, Jen is going to sleep instead of staying up for 3 hours to watch Moto3 practice. Either way, you will hear from us next week. I feel like this has been good. It's invigorated Kyle's stoke to actually record again, and mine too. We haven't hung out in forever, so we got to do it. We're gonna record again. And thanks everyone for joining on live and leaving us some funny stuff in the chat. I think most of our episodes from here on out will be live. We will try and schedule them a little better. But yeah, we'll talk to you in a couple of days. Any final words? Peace, Kev?
No, I'm good. We're good to go.
All right. Later, everyone. Take it easy.